All right. So welcome back. Welcome back. Ron, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. A little tired, a little upset. They were supposed to resume some dirt track racing up here, but Wednesday and Thursday was freaking horrible weather, so it's like a mud pit out there on the track.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
that's good that you're actually getting rain. I think we're in a about a 3 week dry spell here in Nashville. But welcome back. I know we had a podcast. What was that Monday? Announcing some of the news that we had, and
yeah,
we got an overwhelming invite for everybody to come back and to go through the podcast. And we do have some other new, really nice things that's going on that we want to talk about. And so I thought we'll bring everybody back, and we might try to make this a weekly thing. I know that when John and I did it a couple of times, it become pretty laborious just to get everything together and get to get this thing prepared. But I think as we go along, it gets a little bit easier, and we've got a lot of really good things going on right now. So I think there's time for discussions. And one of those things that we have going on, and we're actually going to bring this man up is. Russell from Buckrack Motorsports. He's been running with us in the Cup Series and the Truck Series. We started talking a little bit, and he has a league that he runs on Saturday nights. You know that, Ron, and
yep.
in the trucks. And we started talking about how we can grow and how not only can we grow together, but SSR grow and Buckrack Motorsports grow and how we can continue to make this community bigger. And one of those things that we had talked about was the Xfinity series. And I'm not going to steal his thunder because Russ has really kind of taken this project over and really single-handedly created a lot of things that's going to go on with it. But what we're going to do before we get into that is we're just going to bring Russ in, and Russ is now going to be one of our admins. And like we had talked about before, we're not going to require admins. As a matter of fact, we're going to make sure that our admins are not running the series that they're adminning on. And so Russell running the cups on Wednesdays and the trucks on Tuesdays kind of does not allow for him to really fully admin a series yet. But that's going to change very soon. But we certainly want to bring him on. He's going to be a huge part of what we do in SSR going forward. So without further ado, let's bring this man to the stage. All right. So, Rush, you have a copy?
I hear you, John. What's going on, bud?
All right. Yeah. So, hey, first of all, we want to thank you for joining the SSR team in a more definitive role as an admin and really spearheading this Xfinity League. And I know we're going to get into that in just a little while. But I kind of wanted to cover some of these other things. But first of all, welcome to the podcast. It's your first time on the podcast, and man, we really appreciate everything that you put in and the efforts you put in with the Xfinity League.
Yeah, man, it's been interesting for sure trying to formulate all this, but doing it with my own league, it kind of gives me a little bit of knowledge behind it. I'm just hoping that we can get this series up and going by the scheduled date, which I think we will, and
Yep.
hopefully we get a turnout for it and really bring some new drivers in that can progress their way into the SSR series.
Yep. Absolutely. And so before we get in the Xfinity League, because I want to save some of that toward the end, let's talk about really last week. And so I want to cover the two races that we had last week, and one is going to be the truck race. And so we had the truck race. It was at Pocono. We had a few cautions there at the end, but I really wanted to kind of dive into it. And Russell, you were there on the track. Ron and I, Ron and I were watching it, but really good racing. And I think we should talk about. Kind of the top five, and then some of the things that you've seen on the track. But I could tell you the first thing that really, hey Christian, how you doing? Appreciate you joining us. One of the things I can really tell you is Blake Murray coming from one lap down to win the race is pretty impressive. I guess he had some connection issues in the beginning.
Yeah, he was saying it. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I know something happened with his computer and he had to shut it down real quick and then come right back in. Uh, Luckily, he got back on the track with just only one lap down. And the way the Truck Series had ran, I was kind of worried, like, is he going to make it back? Because you don't have that many cautions in the Truck Series. But
That's true, and I think those
he didn't
cautions
catch a
late
break.
really helped
So
him. Those, and
yeah,
I do think, that, and Pocono, and Russell, we'll come to you about this because when we were looking at the trucks, one of the things that I noticed is it seemed like they were really loose early on, especially on brand new tires. And so kind of walk us through what the track ran like, how it was in dirty air, kind of what you've seen out there on the track.
Yeah, I mean, it was exactly what you said. I mean, the start of a run, you had to give it, you know, 5 to 10 laps maybe before your tires started coming in. And if you got on the throttle too soon, that rear end wanted to step right out because the trucks are tail happy anyway as they are. So, but as the run went on, I mean, we had a what do we had a really long green flag run
Hmm.
in that,
Yeah, we did.
and once those tires came in, the grip really helped. I mean, you were able to really get on the throttle, midway through the corner and just power out of them corners, especially on the high side. The high side came in late. That's where I was running. Um, and you could get hellacious runs off of the corner. Coming out of the corners, probably 15, 20 laps into a run.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that, and it seemed like that was kind of where it was going, and it looked like it was tough to pass. We've seen a lot of trucks that were able to get in the draft and they can get a run down, but if you come out underneath of another truck and that
Yep.
line was up against the wall, it would just suck that other truck right past you. So it looked like it was really difficult to pass.
Yeah, actually, going on to that, me and Ty Dickinson, actually, we were kind of like mid pack, and him and I had probably a 15 or 20 lap battle where we were just going back
Yeah,
and forth. Like, I'd get a run on him, and then I'd pull inside of him, and as soon as I did, that dirty air would hit me, and it would bog me right down. So
yeah,
then it would, come out of the corner. He'd get the run on the high side, and we drag race for a little bit. Going into the next corner, I might get a little bit of an edge, but then he'd come right back and pass me again. I have to slide back up behind him again and get another run on him. It was a good battle. It was hard to pass. It really was. Once you got out into that air on the bottom side, it just bogged you right down. You couldn't go anywhere.
yeah,
You
and I think
you really had to have a run.
Yeah, and I think that's even more impressive for Blake, Ron, to have done what he done, which was come from that lap down, and obviously getting that lucky dog, allowed him to be back on that lead lap. But we had
yeah.
two other drivers on a podium this week that won, and Jordan. I don't believe I've seen Jordan on a podium, Ron, yet. And then
No,
Shannon,
not
and
yet.
we'll talk about Shannon a little bit further because I really think he's gaining some momentum on the back half of this year.
But he is. He's been creeping up there. It hasn't had the best starts from what I can remember, but he's
Yeah,
always finished very well inside the top 10.
yeah,
So always had really good runs in the Truck Series.
yeah, and
Even on the cup side too. He's had some
Yeah,
it
really good runs on the cup side too. He's
he
been
did.
really consistent there also.
Yeah, I think he got another top 10, and it's wild because these guys, Blake and Jordan, I believe, are teammates, and so is Lane. Lane finished fourth in this race, and we'll get to Lane in a sec because I feel like he has really been consistently fast at every truck race that we have seen him in so far this year, and these guys came from the dirt side. So I think Jordan, I believe I listened to his interview and he said he was a dirt racer. We know Blake is, and we know that Lane come from it. So for some reason these trucks really take well to these guys that come off the dirt, and they're just doing a fantastic job with it.
oh yeah, and I know Lane was talking about he had some had that hurricane hit him the day of the race,
Yep. Yep.
and the day before the race, and they didn't have any power, so he didn't even know if he was going to make it. And then I think maybe an hour or two
Half
before,
hour. It was a half
yeah,
hour. Half
yeah,
hour
so
prior, they got power back.
yeah, finally he was there and he showed up and he showed out.
Yep. Yeah. So I think that was we did have some long green flag runs, and we had quite a few cautions there toward the end. And I really kind of chalked that up to it was a tough track on fresh tires. We had a lot of self spins, but overall, I think it was a lot of great racing. And this series, this truck series, is really shaping up to be something pretty special. I mean, when Sean runs, he's really strong. Danny Dow probably has. I don't think so. He finished 10th this race, but
Yep.
he's always up in the top three, top five. Like we've got some drivers here. Nathan Nixon, when he runs, I was actually talking to him a little bit today in Discord, but when he runs, he's shown a lot of speed too. So I think when this is really going to come down to the wire in the truck series.
Oh yeah. And speaking of other drivers as well, yeah, William McKellar, he's very, very fast. Just bad luck caught him at the end of some of these runs. He tries a different strategy than everybody every week. I don't know if that's hurting him or helping him, but it's different. And
Yeah,
one of these days, it's going to pay off.
To say
absolutely.
if anything, it's at least keeping him in the hunt.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
definitely.
It's keeping him up front and in the hunt for it.
Yep. Yeah, he has shown that he can qualify well and that he can run the first 15, 20 laps of a stint really strong. I think for him it's being able to stay up front. Because sometimes you can play those odds. Russell, if you're running the top five, and you're 5, 6 seconds back, maybe you do kind of roll the dice and say, hey, I'm going to two stop this race when everybody else is going to one stop it, or I'm going to short them 5 laps so I can make up this time. But if you're a top three speed truck, most of the time you want to play it kind of where the leader and the second place truck are doing, so that at the very least, you stay close and you stay tight. And so sometimes that rolling the dice really helps. And then other times it kind of puts you behind where you're a much faster truck than where you finish. And I think that kind of bites him from time to time.
Yeah, I really wouldn't know what it's like to run up front. as,
Yeah.
as you two are well aware, I've had my share of bad luck this season also. But I mean, I even did that. Like, I came into the truck series 2 weeks late. Um, and that very first race that I ran, I did that, or I kind of did that, where I was running, I don't know, maybe 15th or 17th, somewhere in there, and we were on a green flag run, and I'm like, well, I think I'm going to come in, maybe 5 laps sooner than what I anticipate everybody else is going to. And I did, and as soon as I hit the commitment cones, the caution came out. So I was on pit road. I was able to make my stop, and that kind of actually kept me up there inside the top 10 for most of that race until the very end. I think that last green white checker is what hurt me because I was on like 20 lap older tires than everybody else. So I fell back like 3 or 4 spots in that last green white checker just because my tires were so much more
Hmm.
worn.
Yep. Yeah. And he had I think McKellar had a race won in the Cup Series based on fuel strategy like that. I think it
Yep.
was a plate race. Was it Daytona or Talladega?
It was
That I
one
think
of
he
I
had
think it
those.
won.
yeah, it was I think it was one of those because he had that race and he lost it because of a late race caution.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Um
it was at Talladega. He pulled up behind me and didn't put me a lap down, which I was glad for. But he just stuck behind me and very late caution come out, and
Yep.
boom, there it
yep.
was.
So the last thing that I want to talk about with the trucks, really excited to see what we're going to do, and this first quarter of the season has really impressed me as to the racing that we have there. And one of the big things I think that we done 2 races ago is move that up to 100% fuel. And I think that kind of allows these drivers to play some different strategies. And even when you
Yeah,
go in the pits, you don't have to take full fuel, and so you can do that to kind of manipulate the way that the truck handles and things like that. But one of the bigger things that we're going to come to is, right now we have Peacemaker Gaming that's broadcasting the truck league. And He's only able to be with us for about the first 7 races, I believe, and then he has a prior engagement, and we're going to have another team come in, and we know this team, or we know one of the people that heads up this team, and that's High Velocity TV, and they're going to come in and they're going to broadcast the remainder of this season. And okay, 7 races, yeah.
Yeah,
So
seven.
Christian is going to Christian Delgado that runs in our Cup Series. He also has High Velocity TV, and he's going to come in, and him and his team are going to join us with the Truck Series. So, and they're going to broadcast. So they've been in the chat and the race control with us, Ron.
Yeah,
It was Tuesday and Wednesday, and so they're going to broadcast with us going forward for the remainder of that truck season.
oh yeah, and they were talking about all the overlays and all the stuff they're going to put up on the screen, and just talking about how they're going to set everything up to get it going and present the best broadcast that they can. And I'm excited for it. It sounds like it's going to be really, really, really nice.
Yeah, the overlays look really nice, and we were talking with them, and I think they have some really great ideas. We kind of spent some time talking about the different drivers, and so they'll have a little bit of back history, and we really hope, it's always really difficult one for a broadcaster like Peacemaker to move on to another thing that he prior engagement that he had, but also for a team like High Velocity to come in 8 races in and pick up right where he left off. So that's a difficult task for both of them, one to leave and the other one to come in and pick it up, 8 races in.
Oh yeah,
So okay, so let's move on to the cup, and let's talk about the cup race. So in the cup race, we were at Homestead, and we did Homestead at night. And I got to tell you, from some of the performances that we've had so far this season, Russell, I think Adam turned in one of the better performances that I've really seen this year.
I'm telling you what, man, that dude is fast. If he gets on a rail, he's gone.
Yep.
Him and Sean lately have been really the two that I've noticed that have really risen to being the cream of the crop in the Premier Series. They're always the ones to be. They're always up front.
Yep, I agree. And I'll tell you, Ron, we were talking about it because we were in race control, and you know what? I was a little, and since a few of the updates, I haven't ran Homestead. I haven't ran a race at Homestead, but I
yeah, I
was
haven't either.
I was very shocked to see everyone staying in fifth gear. I think a couple of times we hopped in the cockpit with the top 5 drivers, and they were staying in fifth gear all the way around. And I remember, I think it was last season when I did quite a bit of Homestead in the next gen. It was really a fourth gear, especially through the turn. So I thought that was really telling, and certainly I think, Ron, that Adam did the best with tire savings from 30 lap on. He was just killing them.
Oh yeah, and another thing I was really surprised about is the high side was not there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, that's a good
usually,
point.
usually my Homestead is top dominant. You use the bottom to throw the slider on, and then but it just wasn't there.
Yep.
I saw a few people using it. It kind of worked for them, but then I don't know if it was tires or that lane just didn't heat up enough or what. But the bottom just dominated.
Yeah, I
Yep.
agree, and that was a little odd to see that, because I think even you and I had talked about that, where I ran a few races, and that high line, even before the update, was really strong if someone really knew how to get up there and save tires. And we saw some guys. I think Chris was up there,
Yep.
DeWald. He was up there quite a bit, and I think McKellar was up there for a while, and we even seen William with some really great runs on that top line. He was really fast for about 10 laps, and then you started to see the tires really give way. And I don't think we had seen that in the previous updates, but we certainly saw that on Wednesday night.
If I remember correctly, the bottom would just completely destroy your tires, but it was the fastest way around the track at the beginning of the run.
Yep.
And then you had to move up to the high side to save your tires, but you were still kind of fast up there. But
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
time, It didn't look
Oh,
like it at all.
yeah. The weird part was, and I agree with that. Usually, the high side at Homestead was, usually the most dominant. But like for me and some of the other guys that I raced with, both lanes were kind of even for a lot of it, but the tire wear was like a 2% difference between top lane and bottom lane.
Hmm.
You wore your tires about 2% more during a run on the high side than you did on the low side.
Yep. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I think too the ability to stay in fifth really helped because I believe previously, even last season when we were running Homestead, it was very fourth gear dominant through
Yeah.
the turns and then shifting, and I think you must have been able to carry the gearing might have been a little bit different on this fixed set, and you were able to stay in fifth, which I think even made the tires last a little bit longer than last season when you had to downshift into fourth to get a good run off of the turn. So I definitely think that helped. Let's talk about Doug. Doug Roth, finished in second. He was fast. First of all, he was fast all night.
Oh yeah.
And we seen him. I think they had an early caution, and guys, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we had a caution, and Doug decided to come in and get tires,
Yep.
and he had to start in the back, and he drove his way right back up to the front, and I thought he was fast really all night long, and I'm happy to see him get a good quality podium and get a second place finish.
Oh yeah. I know. And once he got those tires, I think me and you both looked at it and said, what was that for? He's going to two stop this thing. What's going on? And then all of a sudden, what? I think 3 or 4 laps later, he's right back up front. Like, okay.
So the question
So,
is, Russell, if that caution doesn't come out, is Doug a lap down, or is he winning that race?
Um. Well, he if that caution wouldn't have come out, he would have went a lap down. I think.
Yeah, agreed.
Um. But the late race cautions that we had, or we had no, we only had two in that race. My bad.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I probably would have hurt him.
Yeah,
If
I
it was a
agree.
green flag run and we didn't get that caution, he would have went a lap down and it would have hurt him in the long run. I think he might have gotten the lucky dog on that second caution and gotten back on the lead lap, but I don't know whether or not he could have gotten back to the front at that point.
Oh, here's Doug again. Yeah, and that's true. So Doug, when we were watching you and you went in, I think you went in at lap 40, and I knew exactly what you were going to do because just to kind of take it back again, last season I ran a very similar race where about five of us stayed out for the 60 laps, and we got killed by the guys that come in and two stopped because they were just so much faster. And I thought it was a good strategy. And when Ron and I started looking at the lap times, we said, wow, he's only 5 to 8 tenths of a lap faster than these guys. There's no way he can make that up in time. And we seen you pass the leader, I think on about lap 67 or 68, Ron. And I said, well, he's got about 12 laps before he cuts that in half and pits
Yeah.
again. And I said, I just don't think that's enough time for them to get so much wear on their tires with 12 laps. And I don't think he can make it back up.
But I was sitting, while it happened, I was sitting there thinking, okay, I know it takes about 7 to 8 laps, and then you're going to lose about almost half a second on those tires, and then they're going to even out for quite a while.
Yep.
It's I was thinking maybe he could get enough of a gap to, if he did have to pit again under green, he might come out right around where they're at, just not far behind him.
Right. Right. And so I think either way, I think it worked out well for Doug. That that caution really helped him, and it's great to see him in the podium position because I think we've really seen him with some good runs. And I'll tell you
But
one of the things that I've seen with Doug is on the mile and a half tracks. I've seen a lot of speed out of him and a lot of tire savings, a lot of consistent speed, even on the longer runs. So I'm very interested to see what this is going to do for him, because this should really be a sign of good things to come, and really all of them in the Cup Series, right? So
Oh yeah.
you have two cautions, and we will take that in the Cup Series in the Premier League. That really is going to propel us on the next week.
Oh yeah. Guys, keep it going. Loved it. It was
Yeah,
absolutely an awesome race. Loved watching it. Loved
it
being
really
able to
was.
race control it.
Yep.
It was great.
Yeah, and I think obviously Sean finishing third, he just keeps that string of podiums alive.
Oh yeah.
Really strong. But another thing is Nicholas. I haven't seen him in a couple of weeks, and he popped back in here tonight. I remember him having a really good run at Charlotte, and I think he led quite a bit of Charlotte, and then I think he kind of fell off of the map, or I missed him for a couple of weeks, and it was good to see him come back. He finished fourth, and then Christian round out the top five, and Christian and Sean kind of got into it a little bit there. I think Christian kind of pushed a little heavy and got into Sean, and they got into the wall with a couple of laps to go, and it cost him a couple of spots.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what happened to Nick. Hopefully everything's okay. But if he's back, maybe everything should be good.
Yeah.
It's great to see him back. Don't know what happened, but great to see him back. And congrats on the top five on that, bud.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Zach says, he was starting to come through the field a little
Oh,
bit up to eighth.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, I was watching that, Zach. You had your ping was well over 1,000.
yeah, we said that at one time. You were blinking a few times, and yeah, I think that's when you told me, hey, it's over 1,000. He's gonna, he's gonna blink out. But
Yeah,
yeah, that sucked for you, Zach. You've shown a lot of speed too, and I think I ran. I think in Nashville, I ran against you a couple of times. I think we were really close in Nashville for a few laps, and really good racer. So the bigger thing I think. That we have now is, according to the points, we have a new leader, and I think Greg. Obviously, Greg is in. He's won 4 races, more races than anyone else has. I think Sean's at 3
Nope,
right now, and
Sean just tied him with that win
tied him.
the
Okay,
last
okay,
week. Yep.
yeah. So, but Christian takes over the points lead this week, coming out of Homestead. So we're going to have a pretty nice little battle coming down the wire here to the playoffs.
it's gonna be fun. I'm looking more towards the back of it. But congrats to Christian on getting the points lead on that. That's pretty good.
Yep,
Then
yep.
I
Another
know
good
it's
finish.
another 4 races and we crown our regular season champion.
Let's take a look here. I believe you
I think
are
it.
right.
I think it's 7,
Um,
isn't it?
let's take a look. So let's just show this, and let's see. Well, this is kind of over the top of us, so we can't see that. But yeah, I believe it is 7. So yeah, I agree with you. I think that it's going to come down to the wire, and the Premier Series. And the playoffs are going to be a lot of fun, because I don't think that we have seen everything that all of these drivers have. And I think we're going to see that come playoff time. So I'm very excited about that. So let's talk about the rule changes for the Cup.
All right.
So we added a couple of rules, and Ron, you are seeing those. So if you want to, we can cover really the two big things, the two big changes that we one have instituted. One of those changes we instituted, and another one we kind of brought back from the dead,
Yeah.
to try to give ourselves, a little bit better racing here in the Cup Series.
So the start restart rule that we implemented here, it just if the caution wouldn't have come out, you wouldn't have had that chance to make that jump to gain 2 or 3 positions right there. So we're just kind of bringing it back to where you should be, kind of, I guess. Not really where you should be, but where you were before the caution comes out.
Yeah,
And we don't want a lot of people jumping out of line, trying to jump starts, causing wrecks on the restarts. That's
you're right.
really where it is we want everybody to stay in line. Let's get back to the start finish line, get this race going again. And once you get there, fan out, what you got to do.
And the other rule?
This one I think confused people because when
Yeah.
we brought back the claim, I know William McKellar mentioned it, so we have the claim and we have our incident points. We brought it back because if somebody spins somebody out and they're the cause for that caution, they don't lose any spots, just the person
Hmm.
they took out.
Right.
So now I'm there, I see it. If you don't claim it, I can put you to the back. If you do claim it, you still get to the back, but you're going to lose. You're going to be penalized for causing a caution. That's the whole reason behind the rule.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what happens, especially on the claim rule, we are looking for we're really looking for people to say, "Hey, you know what? I probably drove it in a little hard. That was my
Yeah.
fault." And we don't think, and this is league racing versus officials, right? So if I mean, if you spin somebody out in officials and you don't have any damage and you keep your spot, but this is league racing, and we want it to be a little bit different, and we want people to own up if that was you and you were at fault there, and there has to be some form of a penalty. I think the biggest thing for the claim rule is there's no point system,
No,
Russell.
no points
So
attached to it.
yeah,
Just
so like on the
claim it, go to
truck
the
league,
back.
right? In the truck league, we still have the point system, right? You accumulate five, you have to sit for a week. We don't have that here. It's really just saying, hey, that's my bad, that's my fault. I kind of deserve that EOL, and I'm going to go to the back. Now, we kind of tossed around, what happens if you don't claim it, and that winds up being your fault. And I think that's really where Ron having that live race control can say, this is what I've got to do, and this is
Oh,
where I've got to go. And he says, hey, this guy's at fault. You're at the back, you're at the EOL, and if you don't claim it, really the penalty next week is, you get one wreck, and then you're parking it for the night. So how do you think people are seeing that?
I know some guys were thinking it might have been a little overzealous having
Sure.
two different penalty systems for
Yep.
incident for cautions. Um, I'm not like the only thing that I question with it is the EOL once we go back to green. Because I think that's how you were talking. Like if you determine so and so caused a caution after we've already gone back to green, they get the EOL. Um, that may or may not cause some kind of additional disruption in the race. If they have to let all these cars by and go to the back, if we're at a, say a Bristol or a short track where there's not really a lot of room for them to get out of the way to let these other guys by, it may cause more chaos than it does good. The only thing that I was thinking of maybe giving them a pass through. Like if
oh
you
Hmm.
yeah,
determine
yeah.
that they caused a caution, maybe just a pass through because then they're still going to the back either way, but it may be a little less catastrophic in some places.
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Not
Go ahead,
giving
Ron.
an
But
EOL under a green flag. I would give a pass through at that point. But
yeah, that's
if I can get to
I,
it, then I will give it to them before the green flag comes, before one to go. If I can't
yeah,
get to them before one to go, they will get a black flag for a pass through.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that might have been where a little bit of the confusion was an EOL under green flag conditions. It could just kind of be a little iffy, but
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense, and I think I think Christian. Let me post what Christian said here.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with Christian on this, and
Oh
I
yeah,
would
one
tell you
hundred
that
percent.
yeah, and I would tell you that Christian, we actually talked about that in RC, and essentially that's kind of what happened to us in the truck league on some jumped restarts 3 weeks ago, Ron. And I think
Yeah.
as Ron and I get a little quicker, we can see these things a little quicker and we can react. But yes, if we don't, if Ron really cannot tell who's at fault by the time we're one to go, there's no EOL. I think
Nope.
now the one of the things that we talked about too that caused a bit of confusion and issues. I think it was with John McNeil's Cup car. Is these EOLs are going to start to come after everybody comes out of the pits. I think getting
Yes.
those EOLs immediately was creating some black flag issues coming
Yeah.
in and out of the pits on passing under yellow. So we're going to see that EOL come out with before one to go. But yes, if race control cannot figure out who's at fault, then it's just a racing incident and we move on.
Yep. And I'm gonna ask now. I don't know who else listens. Hopefully, everybody comes back and watches this later. If you're leading a race in the Cup Series, if you can remember, let me know when we're one to go because when I'm watching, it doesn't show. If I'm
Yeah.
not watching the pace car, I can't see the lights go out.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
just shout out one to go.
Yeah, and I think Zach brings up the exact thing that we were just talking about here, which is, we did have that issue
Yeah,
in Wednesday where we gave an EOL pretty immediately, and then I think John got like two, maybe even two black flags that
yeah,
won caution
Yep.
because of that.
yeah. Because
Yep.
he
Yeah,
got a black
so
flag for passing under caution, and then before he even went into the pits, and then after he come out, he had gotten another one for passing under
yeah,
caution or something like that. I'm like, well,
right,
that's not going to work doing it before they pit.
right.
Yep.
So
Um,
I'll give it to him at one to go at the latest, and uh, definitely after everybody is done. Well, whoever is involved after they pit on their lap.
Yep, that's fair enough. And I think that will end some of the confusion, that we
Yes.
had. So, okay, so those were rules. We talked about the trucks. We talked about the cup. Now we're going
Oh,
to get into some
one
really
more thing on
exciting. Go ahead.
this.
Yep.
One more thing on the EOL thing. If you cause a caution, if you don't get the EOL, it's probably because you're already going to be at the back, and I don't feel like going
Hmm.
through and trying to find just to get the EOL. You're already back
Yeah.
there. I'm not going to give you a penalty for it. So
Yep.
just line
That's
up where
that's a good point.
you're supposed to.
Right. Because why create more confusion when you don't need to?
Right.
So if you wreck and you claim it and you're at, you go in the pits and you're damaged and you're going to be at the very back anyway, you might not see yourself getting the EOL. That's because you're already at the back and no sense in creating more confusion if you don't have to. So, um,
Yeah.
okay. So, let's get into some things that are going to happen. So we talked about the trucks, really great runs there. And we talked about the Cup Series. Really impressed with the Cup and the Premier League. This week, two cautions. We'll take that. We'll take that any day of the week. And but we do have a lot of interesting, fun, and exciting things coming up, and we're going to lead right into that. Russell, if you want to start talking about it, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop this up because, again, we kind of gave a little prelude to this at the beginning of the podcast, but now we want to talk about the Xfinity League, and we had this idea, and I think Ronnie, you and I had talked about this idea for a while, and we
Yeah.
soft played it on Monday, and I think Russell, you heard that, and you just kind of jumped on board and said, "Man, this seems like a fantastic idea, and we want to get this started." So I'll let you kind of describe it. And what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm just going to pop this up over the top of our faces here, and I'm going to let you just kind of talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, we were looking for like a developmental style series that we could add to SSR. Sort of the lower tier, lower IRs where they can come in and build their racecraft, but learn their skills, and eventually work their way through the series just like in real life. Only difference being is the Xfinity series is going to be the developmental series rather than the truck series because the truck series seems to have a lot more interest on iRacing than the Xfinity. Um, so that's why we're going with the Xfinity series for the entry level developmental series. It's a little bit of a shorter series. We're doing 15 races. Um, kind of, I kind of made this schedule basing it off of that developmental idea. So most of the tracks on the schedule are some of the easier to run type of tracks. I say easier to run. None of them are easy to run, but um, some are easier than others. So you've got a lot of mile and a halfs, the 2 miles tracks on there, multiple lane tracks, easier to pass tracks, with the exception of the short tracks and thought since the other series are bringing in road courses for next season, and I'm not 100% sure, but maybe the trucks already have one on the schedule for this year.
Yes, we do.
Um,
Yep, two, I
okay,
think.
Yeah, there's
two.
two
Okay,
courses.
Yep.
so we're bringing a road course into the schedule for the Xfinity series. Also, it's going to be the Charlotte Roval, just a little bit something different other than the typical of Watkins Glen that most leagues usually put on their schedule. Um, so we're doing it at a 2.5K IR cap. Um, Anybody under 2.5K is eligible to run in the series, whether you've already run an SSR or you're coming out of another series. Like I know right now, I have three guys from my truck league that have confirmed that they want to run in this series. I'm still waiting to hear back from one more. So under 2.5K, you can run in this series. If you're closer to that 2.5, maybe try to help some of the lower guys. Give them a little help, little pointer. It's to develop them and get them ready to promote within SSR in future seasons.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect description of what we're looking to do, and I think I'm just going to expand on it just a little bit because I think we're pretty excited about this, not necessarily because of the volume of drivers that we're going to get in, because this is really a tier system, just like you said, where we want people to come in that might need a little bit of development, not quite there in the racecraft standpoint, and we're going to give them a league to run in. And because we want them to be with SSR, we have some things that's coming up for the Premier Series and the Premier League where it's going to be an invite only. We're going to do a lot of things that's coming out around that. But we want to use this as that entry level, get into slingshot sim racing. We're in collaboration with you and your league with Buckrack Motorsports, where and you're going to admin this league, and
Yep.
we certainly appreciate that. But this is going to be kind of a stepping stone, if you will, to the Truck League or
Yep.
even the Premier League. And a couple of stipulations that we're going to have here. We do have that stiff IR cap. The length of the races. We're still going to have some good quality races that are a little bit longer, 100% fuel, things like that. But we're going to do some different things where we're not even looking at playoffs. We're just going to do a straight old school point system style race. It's cheaper to enter because it is kind of that entry level league. But and that's why you see they're broadcasted by SSR, which Ron is going to be running this league, so he's not going to be my color analyst on that. But so
Nope.
I'm going to be broadcasting that, and the reason that we're going to do that is, everyone, we just want you to know that you know this $15 entry is just to put a little skin in the game, to say that you're going to show up every week and to pay for some of the trophies and things like that that we're going to have at the end of the season. But we don't want this to be something that is ultra expensive for someone to join. They get 15 races, so it's $1 a race. They get some form of broadcasting from us, and we're able to fund this league on its own, and we're going to limit the amount of people that jump in this. We're probably looking at 20 to 25 drivers here. And the other stipulations we're going to have is, if you're below 2,500 and you're just blowing the field away, and you're leading every lap for the first 4 or 5 races, we're probably going to talk to you, and we're going to say, hey, this is a developmental league. Maybe you come up to the truck league with us here and you run that. Or if you win this league and you win the championship, whoever wins the championship here will have to move up. They're not going to be able to run that league, no matter what your IR is, the next season, because the intent of this league is to really develop drivers and get them into the truck league and ultimately get them into the Premier League.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. So, Ron, what do you think?
I like it. I was kind of nervous about the whole rule thing, but
The
Oh yeah,
Roval.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and
I had to throw a curveball in there somewhere.
yeah,
I'm not a right turn kind of guy unless it's on dirt and I'm trying to catch the slide. But
yeah, yeah, and I do see Bristol in there too, so that's going to be interesting. Although from all of the short tracks, if we're looking at something that's really going to be able to handle, Bristol's going to be great for that. So it's really exciting for us. Now let's talk about timeline, because you can see the start date at 8/12 here.
Yeah.
And we're going to rush this. And here's the reason why. If we're just talking about this holistically, what we're doing for the league overall, and when we look at that, we're wanting for all of these series to really end at the same time. And the reason that or close to the same time, and the reason that we want to do that is one, we want to give all of the drivers some weeks off. Two, there's some other things that we've got going on from specialty events and things like that that we're going to have in kind of our off season, and there's a lot of changes going to go on with our rule books and things that's going to happen on season two that we just want to end everything at the same time. Now I can tell you that this league is going to stick around that 15 race. So
Yep.
even if we continue the Cup Series at a full length series next season, we will probably run quite a few of these, probably two or three of these within one of the full Cup or the Premier League. Just simply because the point of this is to bring people in, get them some competition, some racecraft, to start to move them up throughout our league.
Yeah.
So, question: next season, when we're running this, just do two or three of these. Champion has to move up. It's in the middle of the season. Are we making that champion of this league pay for the truck series, or at a
Um,
discounted rate, or what?
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic question. So what we will, so at the end of this season, everybody would have to re-up, and we're going to try to make this close to what our truck seasons are going to be in season two, so that they are very close to ending at the same time, right?
Right.
So if that's the next logical step. Now a Premier League is going to be a different animal altogether. So there will be a buy-in for that league. Once they it's so if we say, hey, not only can you run the trucks, but we think that your racecraft is good enough to go into the Premier League, there will certainly be a buy-in there, but we're going to try to time this around that truck league where they're going to end about the same time.
Yeah. See, I think next season, since this series is 15 weeks, and I'm not sure how many I think it's 20 for the trucks, and then the full
22.
30,
Yep. Yep.
22, and then the full 36 for the cup. Like with this series here, we could just make it in every other week, and then that would pull it to 30 weeks,
Right.
and that
Yep.
that would
Yep.
that would end it right around the same time as the cup series.
Yep. So a lot of things, or we could even have two. We could have two of this series within one cup series.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
good.
You know,
Yep.
So, but it will make sense as we go along, especially with the Premier, because I do think that the consensus of the Premier League is, that we want that full length schedule. But I think what we're going to do is break that league up into segments. So we'll have that as like a ABC, and potentially three segments of that league. Going forward, where we have people that can just pay partial for that segment that they want to run, or they pay for the entire season, and then we'll have segment champions, and then we'll have an overall champion. So we'll be able to filter in those that get promoted. Based from this league, we'll be able to filter those into the truck and the Premier League.
yeah.
Yeah. So very, very, very exciting news. I really think that this is going to go live pretty quickly here, so that we can get this thing started. We're going to start posting this all over Facebook. So everyone watching, if you know of anybody, if you want to run in this series, again, you see the cap. If you fall under that cap, and you want to run this series as well, this is going to be on Mondays. And we might actually need to add that.
Yeah, I just
Russell,
realized I didn't put that on there.
yeah, yeah, we probably should add that, but it's going to be run at Mondays, and we're going to try to keep everything the same time as all the other series, so that it
Yep.
just makes it really easy, right? So, and we'd love to see people run two, three series with us. That's part of our SSR family. So really exciting stuff that's going on.
It's a just
Um,
onto here the flyer. Put on there that it's fixed setups.
yep, there you
Yep.
go.
Yep.
Fixed
Yep.
setups too. Perfect. Okay, so another
I
announcement
made
that
I,
we
I
have.
made this in a day. Give me a break.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
You should do better.
Yeah.
Do
Um,
better.
so we have needed this for a little bit, and we have it now. We're really excited for it, and that's a Discord moderator. And John McNeil has graciously stepped up, and he's going to moderate the Discord for us. And he's already made quite a few changes, and
Oh
he's
yeah.
given people roles, and you can see that he's going to be shrinking some of this. So we have somebody on the SSR family tree that's going to handle the Discord for us from now on. So we're super excited about that because there's a lot of other things that we're wanting to do, and I think this is really going to propel us forward as well.
Oh yeah. And if you're listening, McNeil, get my slingshot stuff back up there. He took a lot. He took a lot of the channels, little text channels away.
Yeah, there will be some combining of some channels and
Oh
things
yeah.
like that. But the other thing that we're going to have in this kind of that he is helping me spearhead is this, and we'll just jump into it. I mean, I'm kind of skipping ahead a little bit, but is this league versus league competition? So I want to kind of present this to everyone in scope so that they understand what's going on here and what we're looking at. And we thought about this really when Russell and I were talking about the Xfinity League. This just kind of because you were talking about running some of the other leagues and kind of sharing some time frames and things like that. So it just kind of dawned on us that you know what would be a fantastic idea if we took the SSR drivers and we said, hey, League X, whatever that league is, if it's Prestige Worldwide or if it's Buttcrack Motorsports or whoever it might be, um, let's have some fun and let's have an event, right? Where we say, let's bring 10 of us, you bring 10 of your drivers, and let's put them on the same track and let's have fun that night. Let's pay the top five guys, top five drivers, top five finishers, something. So the league owners are going to throw some money in a pot and we're going to say, hey, the top five get paid. And so one of the other things we thought of is let's do an IROC style, right? So we're
Oh
going to
yeah.
have one slingshot sim racing paint scheme, and that's going to go on all 10 of the cars. So you're going to hop into a slingshot sim racing car and you're going to go compete against other leagues, and we're going to try to have three or four leagues go out there on a track where they're all painted on the same scheme, and we're going to see which league is better that night. So that idea kind of came up between Russell and I having that conversation. So I said, I'm going to kind of run with this a little bit, and I'm going to throw this out here on Facebook. I'm going to see what the feedback is.
You didn't run
So
with it. You jumped on a rocket and took off with
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
did that.
Occasionally that
Yeah,
happens.
that's
Yeah.
true. I did. I did. Yeah. And I will tell you when I get something stuck in my mind, I go after it. But so I threw that on Facebook, and wow, we've probably got 10 to 12 owners, league owners that would be a part of this. So what grew from a single event idea quickly became this idea where John is going to help us create a Discord either inside of our Discord or a separate Discord for all of the league owners. And we're going to do this once a month, and we are hoping to have enough leagues really invested in this where we're going to have kind of a championship system where we're going to take the average. So we're going to essentially do a team points competition. So 1 week, 1 month, it might be SSR against, whatever, X, Y, and Z league. And then the next month, it's SSR against A, B, and C league. And we're going to try to have each league run against all 12 of the other leagues or all 11 of the other leagues at least once. So they're going to race against every league at least once. And whatever their average finish position is at the end of that little 4 to 5 month season, we're going to have an overall champion. And so this kind of grew from an idea of a league versus league. Let's just have a fun race to see what happens into a really kind of a league all on its own that we're going to broadcast and that the other leagues will probably broadcast and it's going to be a really cool thing, and I hope we have a lot of drivers show up, and if those drivers are interested they can certainly let us know. But I hope we really have a lot of drivers show up and we fill our ten cars up and we go out there and show them what we're made of.
Oh yeah.
So
And I know we were talking about it, but are we going to get the other leagues to have their race control come in as well? So we have one race control from each league. watching the race.
I think we're going to try to do that. I think that was one of the things that the league owner says. They tried something like this before, and some people call foul play on the league. From one race control, and we're not here to get crazy like that. We are here to enjoy it, to have
Oh
fun.
yeah,
The skin in the game that the league owners are going to have is not going to be so large where we're going to start doing replays and watching back. I mean, we will have race control for intent wrecks, and we will have race control for black flags and jumping starts. But outside of that, we're going to let iRacing kind of handle it. But
yeah.
I really think this is to have the iRacing community come together and all these leagues come together and really see and put on some great events together.
As long as that Coke Series League doesn't come down, I think we'll be good.
No, and we're all going to stay around. The leagues that will be joining this are all going to be around the same IR cap that we
Yeah,
have. So there is a league that's interested that their cap is 4K. But to be honest with you, I still believe in our guys and our drivers. I am not afraid of that at all. But certainly, if we get somebody that's got a bunch of Coke drivers, there's going to be a little difference there, and we're not going to have them participate.
like that's not even fair. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. So, but anyway, so Russell, what do you think?
I mean, in all honesty, it would be cool to see like a Bobby Zelensky or you know like that show up and just school everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
This is why I am where I am. Get better, guy.
it would
Yeah,
be both
on
great
that
and
last
terrible.
lap, on that
Yeah,
last
I
Yeah,
lap,
mean,
he gets a black
yeah,
flag for being disqualified.
yeah.
yeah.
No,
I
I mean,
think
I really think it'll be fun. It's a really cool idea. I mean, and like you said, it's just something to bring the iRacing community together and just have fun nights of racing and just go after a little bit of money, but just go out and have fun, and just battle it
that's
out.
right. That's right. Yeah. And again, we'll take care of the paint schemes and things like that. So we're just asking those 10 drivers to show up and do the best you can and hop into a Discord and work with each other. And obviously there's going to be some super speedways there, and we might even see if we have that amount, we'll probably have 3 races on one night to go through each one of those because we'll probably, if we have 12, we'll have to do 3 races of 4 leagues, so that you essentially have 40 drivers on the track at any of those races. So it'll be long nights. It'll probably be Friday or Saturday nights when we do it. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's really going to bring us around to see where we stack up against some of the other leagues, and maybe meet some great people in the process and have a lot of fun racing, and just kind of throw it out there, maybe make a couple of bucks, for those guys that can run up front.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the brand blending, I think, is a good thing. It gets everybody's name out there into everybody else's communities too.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
SSR, we're our own little family and community, but we don't know any of the guys from these other leagues.
right.
And they don't know of us. So it's introducing ourselves to other leagues that possibly gain interest from other drivers, or have our drivers gain interest for their leagues, or it's just it's kind of like a round table of helping each other out, getting exposure.
Yeah, and this is coming pretty soon. So when we talk to all of the league owners, and I have to get back with them this weekend, we're hopefully going to get that Discord set up pretty quickly, get them in and start getting something on the schedule so that everybody can start planning for it. But this isn't a kind of a pipe dream. This is going to happen, and we have people interested, and we have leagues involved in this. And the if we have 12 leagues, and the league owners, some of the league owners fall by the wayside, and we shrink it down, it might just be a couple of events that we have, but certainly we're going to put this on, and it's going to be good for all of us. And again, it'll be broadcasted, and maybe Ron and I, we might RC for it and broadcast it, and Russell, you can join us if you want to. But really exciting stuff, and it's nothing that's mandatory, but it's also something that really adds something to our family, just like you said, to our SSR family, and something that a lot of other leagues don't have going on that I think we can capitalize on here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
I
Yep.
know. I'm sure some people that are have been thinking, trying to figure it out. But how are we going to pick the 10?
So we'll just do it by volunteer first. And we'll see how let's see how many drivers that we have interested in. And to be honest, this is an event that I, certainly want SSR to represent ourselves well, but we also want everybody that wants to run in it to be involved in it. So it might not be the same drivers every month. We might pick 10 drivers one month and 10 completely different drivers the next month, because we want those drivers to be involved in it. But we want anybody that's part of SSR that wants to do this, we want them to be involved in it.
Yes.
Yeah. And so
Most
so
definitely.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying most definitely.
Yeah, yeah, so we open that up to the entire and we're going to have the Xfinity League is going to be kicking off. So we've got a lot of things that are kind of up in the air, and we're working on a lot of projects at the same time. One of the things that we've talked about a couple of times is this driver council. And that's something that's going to be new. And what we're really looking for in this driver council is not an admin team. We have that, and we're going to develop that. Is a group of drivers that can kind of meet up maybe once a month and say, hey, come next season, this is really what we're hearing, and this is the feedback that we hear from all the other drivers on what we want the rule book to look like. And here's some of the special events that we're thinking about. So instead of the all-star race being here, we're thinking it should be here. Hey, we've really been watching this person in the Xfinity League. We think they would be a great option for our truck league. Can we extend an invite to them? And we want that league to be able to give myself and Ron and Russell to give us some feedback on, really what is the pulse of the league and the family here, and what are they thinking. So we're still looking for those guys, and certainly they can still drive and they can still race, and we want them to still drive and race for us and with us. But I think it's really good to have a voice for the drivers that's about the drivers, and that way we never get too far away from the track here when we're making decisions.
That can come out of any section of the SSR team, out of the Xfinity Cup or Truck Series. It doesn't matter
Absolutely.
who. We want to hear from all three series.
Absolutely. Yep. I think it's very, very important that we hear from the drivers on a consistent basis, good, bad, and ugly. We have to make sure that we hear what's going on so that we can take action. And some of those things that we hear might not be the best thing for SSR. So we politely move forward with the way that everything is going. But some of those things we need to know, because our league is a growing community. It's organic. It's nothing that's set in stone. And so we want to do the very best that we can do in putting the best races together, and the best product on the track that we possibly can.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's ultimately our goal. All right, so that is everything that I have. We'll go around the horn and do our last sign offs for the night. If you have any questions that you want us to answer, throw them up now. If not, Russell, we'll start with you, man. I really appreciate you being on with us. Really exciting stuff
That's
that's
big.
going on in the Xfinity League. So, anything for us before we sign off?
No, I'm just excited to get this series going, and I thank you guys for giving me that opportunity to run, get this thing off the ground and going. I think it'll be really good, and if we get some of our guys, I mean, I know there's plenty of guys even in the Premier Series that are sub 2.5K that that they're good and they're competitive. I'd like to see you guys come down and help these guys out. And, anybody that's not already a part of SSR, and I think it'll be a good time. In the long run, really
Yep.
really good for the series. I like where the idea of this series going is. So I'm just glad to be a part of that now.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, thank you for jumping on our team. We certainly appreciate it, and
Absolutely.
I know Ron appreciates it too. Ron,
Yeah. No. Just thank Russ for coming out. It's fun talking to you. Fun
Yeah.
getting this, getting actually see the schedule because I was kind of wondering what it was going to be like, and then you hit me with the roll, and yeah,
Yeah.
there's a screen in between us right now, but
Yeah.
uh,
You gonna run the series?
yeah, I'm running it.
Nice, attaboy.
Yeah, I can't sit
I'll,
back.
I'll have my EOLs and black flags ready to go for you, bud.
Oh yeah, don't worry. Don't worry, I got them for your other two series.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I'm really excited about it. Ready to get that going and continue on with growing this brand and making it as big and as better, big and as good as it can be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and we're gonna get there. We're gonna do some really cool things, and I don't want to blow everything out now, but we're gonna do some cool things with apparel. We'll have some flags, we'll have some other things going on. I don't know if you can see this Chop Shop banner, but behind me, but we're gonna do some things like that for Slingshot Sim Racing, where drivers can order those things. And I was talking to Mr. Pettit, that. About maybe having a little segment on our podcast, maybe once a month or once every other week where, he talks about sim gear. I've never seen somebody that can buy, sell, and trade so much sim gear in my life than what Adam can. And I can tell you right now, if you want to know and you want some feedback on X wheelbase or X set of pedals, that's the guy to talk to. So we're going to pick his brain maybe once a podcast here on a set of pedals and what he's tried and what he's used, and we might do something next week with that too. So
Yeah, I was
the
saying, I was gonna say too. It's no wonder he won the race there Wednesday night. He's racing in an IMAX theater.
Right.
he really is. Yeah, he really is. Triple 52-inch screens really helps you see the whole track, so
Yeah, yeah,
but yeah, he and we've done a little bit of trading and back and forth over the years, and he really knows what he's talking about. I think he bought a set of Ghost sim pedals, and we can get into that, but Ghost is a company that's out of Chattanooga that sells, and they essentially CNC new pedal faces for a Chinese set of pedals that are a really great budget set of pedals that work very similar to like a Husaveld Sprint pedal. And he'll get into all of that. You've seen the sponsorship on his car Wednesday night from them, and I think he bought a set of pedals from that guy. And I've talked to him several times. Fantastic guy out of Chattanooga, and of course, we my team is based out of Sim Motion. US Sim Motion has a ton of pedals. I use VNMs, but we'll get into all that. It's going to be pretty interesting, to talk to him about that. So we've got a lot of really cool things coming. It's just getting all of these things off of the ground and getting people in place that can really drive these particular things home. And Russell, with the addition of you, man, it allows us to do that third series that we've wanted to do, and because it's very very tough to manage a 2 to 3 series with two admins and some
yeah,
people that do the very best they can to help. But we like to see people really take some ownership over some of these series, and you've really done that with this, so I'm excited to see it.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it, man.
And
Yep.
you've allowed me to race in it, so thank you.
Yeah, and kick out the Roval from what
I was
Ron
gonna say,
said. But
yeah, I
Oh,
say I got Ron here to kick more money to the series too by joining this leagues or this
that's
series. So
that's right. There you go. Okay, so the last thing that I have, and then we will sign off, and we'll kick into this ultra loud goodbye thing. But this podcast I think has been a really good thing. John and I, like I said, had quit or move past it for a little while, but I really think that the feedback is great on it, and I think a lot of people want to continue. So we're going to continue this podcast hopefully on a weekly basis. That way everybody's ready for it. And I want to bring back some interviews where we bring some of our drivers in and we interview them about racing and their sim rigs and things like that. So that's going to come too. I just wanted to get out here in front of everyone with all of the changes that was going on and make sure that everybody knew it. So, guys, thank you very much for joining tonight. Really appreciate it, Ron, Russell. Thank you, and I guess we will see everyone Tuesday night for the Truck Series.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.